Guys, people, friends, Romans, countrymen, writing a memoir is not easy. Do I have to rewrite the whole thing? But it was like I was crying for my younger self. I'm writing not from wounds, I'm writing from scars. Hi everyone, welcome back to An Artist Travels. My name's Nikki and I've written a memoir. I wrote a memoir, baby! Okay, this isn't the memoir announcement video. If you haven't seen it, click down below and that's all there. So I thought I would just document the process, both for all of y'all and also for myself, because I've realised that this will actually be a really cool thing to look back on. I've had a lot of thoughts recently and I took the weekend off writing the memoir actually, because I was in a role where I was kind of writing, I think, almost every single day. And I took a weekend off and I needed that weekend. So basically what's happened is, so I've written a memoir. I'm really excited for it to be released. I will announce the release date soon. It'll be like, it's not far away. It's not far away. So basically how I feel right now is that the story is there. The story is there. Like, I've written it, and as I said, it's taken me like years to write it, sort of on and off. So what's happened recently that's made me think a lot of things, and really, yeah, I just need to stop thinking and send it over to beta readers already. So basically, what's happened is that I took time off writing, and I was like, I'm going to read some memoirs just to see how other people have written their memoirs, right? And so I had a little look on the phones app, the reading the book app. I don't know what the name of the app is. It has books in it. And I looked under memoirs and I saw this memoir. I clicked on it and it's a really incredible memoir. I feel like enjoying is not the right word to use in terms of the experience of reading the memoir, because it's about some very harrowing things, but it's been a really good read, like a really good eye-opening read. And yeah, Chanel Miller, incredible woman, like respect, and I just want this woman to just live a great life and just do amazing things and just heal and just be great. If anyone heard of the Sanford assault case, she is the survivor of that. Really, for quite a long time I just kept on reading. Her perspective is always something that I really craved when I heard the story, when I heard about the trial anyway. Like, I said, we heard the story, we didn't know the full story. And so, like, I don't want to say like, oh, I enjoyed reading the book, because that just doesn't feel like the right word, but she's so articulate and I'm so glad that she felt able to write this memoir. I think it really opened my eyes to what a memoir can be, because of the way she describes what she went through, and the not just the honesty, but what's the word, she's so very immersive about everything in terms of describing everything. It's very, you're able to put yourself in her shoes and, you know, not understand what she went through, but you empathize so much because the way it's written, you are in her head. You are so in her head and you're just there with her, you know, unraveling everything day by day, like the turmoil and all these things. And I just realized, like, wow, this is what my memoir needs to be. Like, I was so focused on the light aspect of it that I didn't include the dark. I sort of skimmed over the dark. Sorry, the angles just keep changing. Switching it up. Yeah, reading that just made me think, wow, this is what a memoir could be. And then I was just so fascinated to read other memoirs just to see if they were similar in terms of the writing style. I didn't realize the writing could be so beautiful for a memoir. Not that the experience is beautiful. They could be talking about really awful things, but the writing itself and the language is really, like, it's just so well written and articulated and expressed. And so I started doing some more research, and actually I was interested in seeing specifically a Christian memoir, because my book is a Christian memoir, if we're going to use that category. Yeah. So, and I googled Christian memoirs to read, and the number one memoir that was, you know, the top Christian memoir to read was this book, The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. I was given this book years ago and I never picked it up, and I'm not gonna lie, it's because I think a lot of it was to do with the front cover, put me off a little bit, and I didn't feel like it was going to be my kind of thing. But I've heard so much about it. If you haven't heard about it, it's this like incredible story, real life. It's a memoir, obviously, so it's real. Story of this woman, Corrie ten Boom, and her family, and how they hid Jewish people during the war, and I think they have a really miraculous story, and she's a Christian and she talks about how God helped them through this time. I haven't finished reading it. I've just started it, and again, I was immediately plunged into the story. It felt like I was reading, a story, like a great story. But obviously, the extra gravitas came because I realized it was a real story, and I felt so emotional because she sets it up with like how the home life is, and you just know that's about to completely change as the war sets on, and you really understand. You begin to understand her character, because something that I was thinking about was like, this is such a great story, but at the beginning, will people be interested in it if they who don't know me personally? What will make them interested in it? And through reading these memoirs, I actually understand what that is. I think I just need to take up more time to explain who I am, but not to tell you, but to show you who I am, show you stories from my childhood, show you these kinds of things, and just be a bit more immersive with it. And I just began to realize that I need to write either in present tense or just closer to the story, because I think in a way, most of it, how it's been written so far, has been me, who I am now, looking back on the past, which is like totally fine from a POV point perspective. But in terms of how close I am to the story, there's moments where I need to bring you closer into that story. And I didn't realize memoirs could do that. I didn't realize that as a memoirist, I could immerse you so much that it's like writing fiction in a way. That the events are real, but the artistry behind the writing is the same as fiction writing. And so I went and I wrote a few chapters like that. And it was amazing, because for those of you who don't know, how I started getting into writing was actually writing books, was writing fiction, and I loved fiction. I've always actually found first person, it wasn't my favorite tense to write in, but it was the easiest tense for me to write in whenever I was getting into a character's perspective. So to write from first person perspective, from my perspective, so easy. And I suddenly found the joy in it, because before, I think when I was writing this book, it wasn't joy, it was the joy of having been done. So once I finished a chapter, I felt joyful and I felt great and I felt accomplished, and I got really excited thinking about other people reading the book and how it would impact other people, and that would like motivate me. But the actual writing itself, I'm not saying that it was horrible and painful, but it wasn't joyous. It wasn't the same joy that I get when I'm creating a story, you know? And even though everything that happened is real and I already know what's happening, and I'm not creating in a way, it's in terms of fabricating a story, I felt so joyful. It was the same joy I felt when writing any other book. And I was like, I've been unlocked. And it sounds so obvious because we all know show, don't tell. But I always thought about that in the context of fiction. And then I started thinking about, because when I started writing this book, you have to understand it wasn't I want to write a book. I felt God say, I want you to share this story. So I was like, okay, started sharing the story. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't ever thinking about it in terms of like, I'm gonna write this, like, do you know what I mean? It was very different from thinking I've got this idea for a fiction book. And I was so excited for the helping people aspect that I almost forgot about the artistry that my career has been around, which is using language to inspire people. So yeah, so that's kind of sort of where I've got to. I then started remembering The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and I suddenly remembered, hang on, that's a memoir, and I've read that and I loved it. And again, it's that style where you could read The Bell Jar, and if you didn't know who Sylvia Plath was, you would probably just think you were reading a fiction story. There's like a few artistic liberties in there, if I remember correctly. But again, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's a memoir, of course. Okay, cool. I always thought it was like loosely based on her life, but it's a memoir. So for me, I'm just going through and finding those parts where I can immerse the reader a bit more, finding those parts where I can write and just enjoy the process of writing. I want to show you, today I downloaded Scrivener, very exciting. Let me get it up. So this is it. This is their non-fiction format, as you can see there. Basically, I mean, I don't really know how to use it yet. I think they've got, here we go. They've got instructions. So I'm just going to go through, read through all of this. It's not too long, actually. Acquaint myself with all these little things here at the side, and then use it to format it, because something I felt that I needed as well, if I was to go back and rewrite a few chapters, because actually I've realized writing from in this new way requires me to add extra chapters. I just wanted a way to split it up, so I really like how it comes formatted with a title page, a foreword, a contents, and all of that. Something I didn't mention actually is that going back and making this more immersive is actually more difficult emotionally for me. I, for the first time, cried for myself for the book, which sounds weird, and not in a way, please don't worry, don't be like, oh my gosh, don't hurt yourself around this, but I'm not, it's fine. I'm writing not from wounds, I'm writing from scars. Do you know what I mean? We're not in the wounds. These are old things. But I think for the first time, writing again in this really close first person really put myself in my shoes and where my headspace was at that time. And I started crying, and it was really funny because like it's not something that upsets me now, but it was like I was crying for my younger self. It was nice. It was like, yeah, cry for yourself. Like, yeah, like, girl, I don't even know how to put it. Like, it's kind of like I never cried for myself, and that's a sad ass story. Like some of it anyway. So it's like, yeah, cry for yourself. Like almost like you deserve to cry for yourself. Like that's so chill. Like someone needs to cry over you, so you cry over yourself. So yeah, so that was like really interesting. It felt really nice. I was like, oh, I actually took time to cry for myself, because I just sort of moved on from that and didn't take the time to cry, and I think that's nice. I don't know, I thought it was nice. That sounds weird, but like, yeah, it was just like crying for a little child. Yeah, that was cool. So yeah, it's really interesting going into the head. Just like really just puts you in that emotion. It reminds you of where you were, and at that time you probably were really upset and crying and like felt hopeless and all those things. So it's like, yeah, really interesting to revisit those emotions, right? And like conversations where I was like, or like I'll talk about it later because I don't want to give spoilers, but I found things where I was like, oh my gosh, that's where you were? That was your headspace? Damn, girl, okay. Like, girl. So I'm feeling really good. I'm really excited because it's great, because the story is there, and for the most part how it's written I think works really nicely. I think it works really well, because I was actually scared when I made this realization. I was like, do I have to rewrite the whole thing? I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like honestly, I was like, I've just finished it, what do I do? But then I went back and reread it, and I was like, actually it works quite nicely for a lot of it, but there are definitely some parts that I want to go back and just make a little bit more immersive. For the most part I think it's fine that it is a little bit different from something like this, and it's a little bit more of me looking back on things, and I think that's really helpful. Makes sense. I think there are some things that not go without saying, but there are some things that you can use your imagination for when I'm talking about things that I went through, and I don't want to go like I did A, then I did B, then I did C. I'm more interested in telling you where I was and telling you where I am now and telling you how God did that. Yeah, so I think it's that playing that line as well, where I want to create something that people can understand who haven't been through it. And so I'm just gonna acquaint myself with Scrivener now. I really hope that I don't have to copy and paste it chapter by chapter. If you know anything about that, well, let me know. Although by the time you comment, I would have probably figured it out. But you know, let me know anyway. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was somewhat interesting to you. I really highly recommend the Know My Name memoir, by the way, and I recommend this as well because this is one of the most famous memoirs I think in the world, and I've had it on my bookshelf and I hadn't picked it up yet, literally to the extent that I left it downstairs and my housemate was like, oh my gosh, you have this, can I borrow it? Like, I've been meaning to read this for ages. So you know, there you go. Hope that was interesting. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll be back. Consider, if you have not already, subscribing to this channel, because I'm going to be doing regular updates, you know, all the unboxings and all that stuff as we continue with the journey. And yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I hope I didn't seem like too serious or anything. It's literally just because it's 11, almost 11:20, and I'm really tired. And in fact, I was even like, should I film this video? Should I pick up and film? Because I'm gonna hate editing this back. Oh my gosh, I'm rambling so much, I'm speaking so quickly. But I'm really tired. If you can't tell, I'm very sleepy. So if I seem extra serious and like not smiling, because I feel like I wasn't smiling very much in that video, in this video, I'm tired. Oh my gosh, yeah, basically I'm just tired. So that's all it is. I am super excited and super happy, and yeah, all these changes are just going to make this book better and just make it a more exciting reading experience for you all. So I'm really excited just to improve the book, and I'm excited that it's actually only like not many tweaks at all, and I get to write more chapters. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. It's been a bit of a rambly one, but it's okay, everyone. I'm making up the song on the spot, 'cause I am seriously hot. Yeah. Okay, anyway, right, let me hang up because I'm tired. Let me learn how to use Scrivener. Bye.